Episode 9 is set to end the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one angle of Episode 9 that a lot of people are really looking forward to seeing in this movie are the various pieces of Jedi and Sith lore that will be used in a sense in order to move the characters of Rey and Kylo Ren forward in this story by JJ. And not only that, both Abrams and Terrio actually used the expanded universe as a form of inspiration in order to incorporate the Jedi and Sith lore correctly into Star Wars Episode 9 in a very unique way. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, it reveals the true identity of the first Jedi, as well as the Lost City and Rey in the film. Specifically, a description of Rey inside of the Lost City within the Jedi section with R2-D2 by her side, where it's described that she is reading the book of the first Jedi. It said that R2 is shining a flashlight on the pages of the book as Rey reads a passage. The next goes over Rey's story the book of the first Jedi in her backpack, where the sequence is described as Rey collects the book of Nalar Tukdu. It's described that the book of Nalar Tukdu dates back thousands of years, even older than the books that Luke discovered on the planet of Octu. The next goes over Rey grabbing a white kyber crystal necklace that is said to be the first kyber crystal discovered by a Jedi in history, where the sequence is described as Rey observes Tukdu's kyber crystal. Another goes over Rey walking away from the statue of Nalar Tukdu, heading toward three large buildings that appear to be covered in vines and partially destroyed, also known as the Jedi runes within the Lost City. So I want to go over a couple of parts about all of this and what I think about the name of Nalar Tukdu. Now, we heard about the name Nalar a couple of days ago, and it seems as though now that Nalar is actually the first name, not the last name of this character, and that the last name is Tukdu. It almost reminds me of Octu in a way, ironically. But when we look at Star Wars Episode 9, though, we do know that this is, of course, one of the big attempts by J.J. Abrams in order to really get fans and the audience specifically very much, in tune with Jedi and Sith lore. It's all going to be about the Lost City and the Dark Spire. By the way, the Dark Spire is a location that Kylo and his knights travel to, and it's going to be an inversion of Rey's travels to the Lost City. So, moving past all of this, alright, what's really intriguing about this is that Rey actually discovers the Book of Nalar Tukdu, also known as the Book of the First Jedi. Now, this is actually next to the statue of Nalar, and this is actually going to be based outside of the Jedi runes. So, one thing that we do know about the Lost City is that this whole entire location, this environment, if you will, is all based underneath the surface of an unknown world. This could be Jakku for all we know. It could be another planet that's actually going to be inserted into the movie. We're not quite sure exactly what planet the Lost City is based on. But moving past this, alright, this is where things begin to get very interesting, alright, is that Rey actually discovers the first kyber crystal discovered by a Jedi in history, where it's described to be a white kyber crystal necklace, a pure kyber crystal, if you will, from what it seems. So what's really interesting about this is that Rey actually collects not just the Book of the First Jedi, also known as Nalar Tukdu, but also there's a sequence that is described as an actual scene that involves, alright, Rey actually observing Tukdu's kyber crystal in Episode 9, and she eventually observes it and, of course, takes it away. Very similar to what she did in The Last Jedi, where she took the books away outside of the tree library. Now, the thing that I do want to point out here about the Lost City is that this is going to be a very important location for Rey and her travels in Episode 9, specifically within the second act of the film. At least she's going to have, a lot of these scenes with R2-D2, giving us a little bit of a parallel to Luke and R2-D2 and their travels in the originals, and of course in the sequel trilogy flashback sequences and stuff like that. So, from what it seems, BB-8 is going to be with Poe and Finn primarily, and R2-D2 is now going to be Rey's droid, from what it seems, as opposed to Luke Skywalker's droid, because let's not forget, R2 has been pretty much asleep for a very long time, ever since he was, pretty much, restarted in The Force Awakens at the very end of the movie. And mind you, The Last Jedi only takes place some hours before, or some hours after, I should say, of The Force Awakens. So R2 is now, in Episode 9, 1 year after the events of course, The Last Jedi. and you can only imagine what they're going to fill in between episodes 8 and 9 in the form of books and novels. To me, I think that Jedi and Sith lore should have been introduced and pretty much, given to the audience in great detail in Star Wars The Last Jedi, since it was the middle film of the sequel trilogy and was actually set to be a film that delivered a lot of twists and turns, and those twists didn't really add up to a lot of the fans, right? The two major ones were Luke's Force projection and Snoke's death by the hands of Kylo Ren, as well as Luke Skywalker's philosophy on the Jedi. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.